Bump.
All right, guys. A little special podcast for you guys tonight. Actually, this is a later show. Um, so this podcast is going to be basically based around the NFL offseason. It's been crazy. We've got one little thing we're going to talk about the NBA first. I say a little thing, but pretty big
Yeah.
milestone that was kind of overtaken by the NFL offseason and the kind of moves that were going on. But so first, we're going to talk about the little thing. I say little. The first thing we're going to talk about is LeBron hitting 40,000 points. Brett, go ahead and give your kind of opinion or what you think about that. I know that was a huge thing.
Well, I mean, it's not that big of a deal because Wemby only needs to average 35 for at least 70 games a season for the next 16 years in order to get 40K points.
Right.
So, I mean, that's totally doable and
Yeah, if you put it that
easily
way,
obtainable.
LeBron is kind of not the GOAT. If you put it that way,
Yeah,
Um,
because it's only like 35 points a game.
right. But that is, on a serious note, that is a serious milestone.
It
I
is
mean,
insane.
like, that's something I never thought that would happen. I mean, his
Yeah.
longevity is, I don't mean to glaze, but his longevity is crazy. Like, um,
Yeah.
25, 25 points a game as a 40-year-old is insane. Like
Insane.
people
And
that's
like,
never been heard of, ever.
I also saw some statistics earlier today. His numbers this season are rivaling like other people's averages in their MVP seasons. Like his 3-point percentage is like 1% lower than Steph in 2016, and I think it was his free throw percentage was like 1% higher
I
than
saw that too.
MJ in 1989 or 1998.
Yep.
And then like around the rim, he had a better percentage around the rim than Shaq in one of his MVP years too,
I saw that too.
which is insane.
And I also saw that right now he has a longer streak of 10 plus point games than Shaq had his entire career combined. So like Shaq had like 1,000 games of his entire career. He played 1,000 games.
Yeah,
LeBron has a streak of 10 plus points in like more games in that span, which is insane. Um, so it just shows. Just going to talk about NBA just a little bit. I mean, that just shows like he is one of the best of all time. Um,
yeah,
but all right, so now we're gonna get into the NFL offseason. This podcast is mainly gonna be NFL offseason. Like it was insane. I mean, this has kind of been the craziest NFL offseason I've ever. Usually, not this kind of stuff happens. It's usually small, minor moves and maybe a couple big moves. But
yeah.
so first, we're just gonna talk about the general offseason, like what we think, and then some movers and shakers, some bigger winners and stuff like that. So personally, like I said, I think this is one of the biggest off seasons I've ever witnessed.
Witness. Yeah,
Um, I mean, a lot of running back transactions. Obviously, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, and how much a lot of safety transactions, a lot of defensive transactions. I think it's because the league, all those players are a little bit older, and the leagues kind of get a little bit older in a sense of people play a little bit longer because they keep their body in shape a little bit longer. So that's why you're kind of seeing a lot of 35-year-olds getting a lot of money, a lot of D tackles that are like 31, like Eric Armstead and those kind of older guys make a lot of money that are kind of going through their contracts. Also a lot of players that should have played well last year getting another shot on a different team that were good, like Kevin Byard.
yeah,
I mean, I think he got a little bit hurt and a little bit banged up last year on the Eagles, and he kind of didn't play well, and their off defense kind of looked like a high school defense, but because they couldn't tackle. But I think he'll be a good one of those additions to a depth role and a starter role on the Bears. But for sure, one of the coolest off seasons to watch because you never know what's going to happen. I mean,
yeah.
like last night, I think it was last night, Keenan Allen at 9 o'clock going to the Bears. I'm a Bears fan, so I'm kind of talking about the Bears transactions a little bit more. But for a fourth round pick is insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, talk about fleece job. But they got rid of Mike Williams. Mike Williams still on the free is still a free agent. He's coming off an injury, but he's still a
Yeah,
free agent.
that I get a little bit more though,
Right, right.
because that's kind of like the whole reason they drafted Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, to replace.
They're hoping. Yeah.
Yeah, and now the Chargers are kind of selling their entire team. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my thoughts on the offseason. It's just crazy. So what are your kind of general, initial thoughts of the offseason so far?
It was insane. I keep hearing people saying like, "Oh, we probably won't see another offseason like this for a long time." But with the amount of like 1-year deals people are signing, I think it might be trending in the direction that it's going to be like this more often. Because you see a lot of these, kind of like solid mid-range to upper, like, I don't want to say
good pieces,
superstar, but like Aaron Jones, like guys like that,
right?
That level are just moving around, and they're signing these 1-year deals. I don't know. I don't think it's good for the league. I think it's gonna end up making the NFL a little less competitive.
It's kind of making the NFL like NBA, like a little bit.
Yeah, because there's not that loyalty to the teams. Like You're like, oh, I'm gonna be gone in a year anyways. So like, why does it matter if we go like 8 and 9? Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, so like that. I don't like that, but I do kind of like seeing all the movement.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like in the NBA offseason, because there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. And usually just the NFL doesn't do that because they're NFL players and it's just a different game. But I understand what you're saying. It kind of, the 1-year deals kind of change a lot of the dynamic. But like I said, I think the 1-year deals is because players are older, so it's harder to.
That's true too.
Kind of
like they want to get the bag,
right? Get the bag, and they only have a couple years left. Like a lot of the free agents that are like upper, I would say upper B tier, A tier. I would say like good pieces. They're usually like, 35, like 29 to 35, depending on their position, because you can play longer in different positions. But, for sure, one of the craziest off seasons so far. Just a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff to keep track of. That's why it's kind of hard to like rank them, because you kind of forget about some of them. So going right into like you can go first on this one. Biggest winners of the off season right now. Biggest winners specifically, or biggest moves, or whatever you think. Go ahead.
I think biggest move is Derrick Henry to the Ravens.
Yep.
That is gonna be insane. Like,
that triple option.
Kids all over the country are gonna be banning the Ravens in Madden in their house. Like, it's like nobody's gonna be allowed to use the Ravens because they're just gonna be unstoppable. And then like the Packers have made some moves that I kind of like. It's they're cooking something over there.
Right.
And then I also think that honestly Atlanta's
they're going to be kind of
now
weird. It's going to be kind of a weird season for them, but I think they'll be good.
Yeah. I think now that Arthur Smith's gone, they're going to
100%
be able to raise their floor a little bit.
Right.
And then obviously the Seahawks getting Sam Howell. I love that move. He was like second or third in passing.
Good. Yeah, he's actually really good.
And that was with like one of the worst O-lines in football.
Right.
So like, the Seahawks O-line isn't anything crazy, but it's better than the Commanders.
I would say Sam Howell is like middle. He was good last year. He made some mistakes, but
it's an upgrade over Geno.
Yeah. Gino's kind of hit
I
and
mean,
miss.
Gino's, yeah, he's just getting old, and I don't think he's able to withstand the physicality of the NFL anymore.
Right.
And then probably, I'll say I have two more winners. The Bears. The Bears have been killing it.
They have been going
I
crazy.
mean, I don't know why they just decided to flip the switch right now. And then I think one move I did like was the Panthers got Deontay Johnson. Like, I think that's...
And that finally they finally got someone that could catch the ball. I mean, they didn't have anybody besides Hayden Hurst and Adam Thielen. I mean, like, those are your top two receivers.
That's bad. If Adam Thielen is your wide receiver number one, you've made some mistakes.
Yeah, right. And they're probably gonna get another one in the draft. I mean, but
yeah, but I think it's great that they're getting Bryce Young, a playmaker.
Yeah. All right.
What about you?
So my biggest winner is obviously, I'm a Bears fan, deep-hearted Bears fan. So I put number one. I put the Bears. They're cooking, like, and I'll probably get some people that are mad at me later on because of my decision on our division winners. But I do think that they're going to be top. They're going to be over 500 this year. They fixed a lot of holes. They were missing. They lost Darnell Mooney, and they replaced Darnell Mooney with Keenan Allen, okay, for a 4th-round pick. I mean, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
They got DeAndre Swift to replace Khalil Herbert with DeAndre Swift. I mean, Khalil Herbert's still on the team, but
great pickup.
Whatever, the Bears are doing, whoever throws the ball as a Bears quarterback, even if it's Fields or Caleb Williams, they have a great team to throw to. They also have, they fixed their safety holes. They still got to fix their interior D lineman. I think that's what our 9th pick's going to go to. Some edge rusher or some inside interior D lineman, and our 2nd-round pick. So
or another quarterback.
Yeah, just get like every single pick. It has to work out at some point. And then at number 2, I put the Texans. I mean, they're actually winning every free agency, like this free agency.
Yeah.
I think they're from a signing perspective and not just a trade. Like the Bears are kind of doing a lot of trades. For a signing perspective, they got what's his name, the D lineman Daniel Hunter. They got him.
Yeah.
They got the running back. I forgot his name. See, there's so many trades. I can't even keep track.
They traded for Joe Mixon.
Yeah, they got Joe Mixon. They got someone else. I can't even remember. But they are missing a number 1 wide receiver. But they are my number 2. They were like 9-8 last year, and they're probably gonna win 11 games this year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They signed the linebacker, Sharir or whatever his name is. He's really good. He was top 5 in tackles this past year. So that's my number 2. Go
ahead. Didn't they re-sign their tight end?
Yes, they re-signed Dalton Schultz. So they're doing really well so far. I think they will be actual contenders in the playoffs. Obviously, I don't think they're on the level of the Chiefs. There's like a tier, and then there's like a jump to the S tier of the 49ers, the Chiefs of the world, the Ravens. I think they're not there yet, but they're getting there. And then my number 3, I just put the Falcons offense because I don't know about their defense. Their defense wasn't really spectacular. But I put the Falcons offense for Darnell Mooney, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins got a bag for not winning a playoff game, but their offense will be better. And they also have Bijan Robinson. I mean, if they actually give him the ball, use him a lot, he's going to be my number 1 pick in fantasy probably. But go ahead.
The Falcons could easily clinch their division now.
100%.
I mean,
that division is terrible. Tampa Bay lost a lot of players defensively, both inside backers. Shaq Barrett left. A lot of players left. And then for my number 4, I put just specifically the Giants' defensive line. I just added this before because we were talking. I forgot. I literally forgot that Brian Burns got traded to the Giants. You have um, Darius Leonard. I think that's his name, right?
Yeah.
And then Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns. That defense is going to be great. With I was talking about this earlier with McFadden as linebacker. I think he's a dog. He's kind of like not really. No one really knows who he is.
Yeah.
But every time I watched a primetime Giants game, he showed out on when I was watching. If they figure out some point on their offense, I know they have buyer's remorse is what I've seen of signing Daniel Jones to $38 million a year, which is crazy. If they figure that part out, I think they'll be decent. They're not going to be.
And they lost Saquon.
Yes, and they lost Saquon. They lost Xavier McKinney.
Oh.
That's why I just picked the Giants' defensive line because they don't have any safeties. Yeah. They lost Xavier McKinney to, of course, the freaking Packers that I hate so much. So moving on to the top 5. We talked a little bit about some of the moves we made. You don't have to go in depth if we already talked about them, but top 5 best moves in the NFL offseason right now for you. And you can go ahead on this.
I would say Derrick Henry is the best move. Right. Saquon to the Eagles is up there.
Uh-huh.
I think. Honestly, this is going to sound crazy, but Russell Wilson to the Steelers.
You think he's going to shine in that? You know who their OC is, right?
Well, actually, no, I don't.
It's Arthur Smith.
They sign as
it's OC? Arthur Smith.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe not. But here's why I say that is because they got him for the vet minimum.
Right. That was a great.
They got him for $1 million. And here's the thing: is yeah, he didn't have the best season in Denver.
Yep.
But
he's still a good, decent player.
Yeah, did you see who he's thrown the ball to? I mean,
yeah,
come on.
Judy and only had Cortland Sutton, and it's not like it's that hard when there's one person to throw to double cover him. Yeah.
So I think for the Steelers at that value, that was a steal.
Right.
No pun intended. But also they signed Patrick Queen. That's another thing. Somehow they buffed their defense up even more.
Right. Yeah, that was a big signing. That was a big signing. Their defense is going to be one of the best in the league.
It's going to be scary. And then I think, I think DeAndre Swift was a great pickup for the Bears.
Yep.
I think he's going to really allow that offense to evolve.
Yep. And he's been kind of inconsistent, especially, the Eagles. On the Eagles, they were kind of inconsistent running the ball. He either get 200 yards or he get like 50 yards. So I think now that he's on a team that if they go Justin Fields route, he'll get the ball more. If they go Caleb Williams route, he still is going to get the ball in a normal amount of times.
Yeah, because, that's the thing is, he's still a great pass catcher.
Yeah. He's great out of the backfield. You're right.
You don't have to just use him in the run game.
Right.
And I think a big thing he showed last year is that he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because that was an issue in Detroit.
Yeah, he kind of proved himself on the Eagles for a 1-year deal, and I am glad that we got him. We did need someone that could someone of that level at a good price, so we can sign other players on our defense and our offensive line. But I think that was a great pickup for the price, for 3 years, and I think it was $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Or not $8 million, $6 million a year, something like that. But still, I do think that was a great pickup for the Bears. But my top 5 is that 5 for you? Or do you have one more?
I think that was 3.
Okay, go ahead.
I think for the Falcons getting Kirk Cousins, he's you at least know what you're going to get with Kirk Cousins.
Right.
It's not a gamble or a project like Desmond Ridder.
Yep.
So I think that that's going to elevate their other pieces like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan. Because Kirk Cousins is a vet, so he's going to be able to put or give those young guys more knowledge, and like they might not, you know, be with the Falcons forever, but he'll at least allow those three guys to like access their next levels.
Yep.
As football players. Um, and then my fifth, honestly, it might be Josh Jacobs to the Packers.
Really?
Like I did not see that one coming. I think that's because Josh Jacobs is a dog.
Yeah, he's going to be really good on that offense. It's kind of like a newer Jones running back type of running back, but he's going to be really good in that offense for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my 5.
Okay, so for my 5, and I'm gonna add another one because I kind of forgot because I'm looking at this list and I'm like, holy crap, I forgot about all these other players.
There's so much stuff,
especially running backs. Running backs are one of the most important positions in the NFL. You have to run the ball to win playoff games, and you have to stop the ball to win playoff games. But top 5 best moves of my choice, obviously, number 1, Derrick Henry. That is the best move. We don't have to really talk about that. We talked about it. If I get them in a Madden game, I will not lose. Because I don't throw the ball in Madden. I run the ball every time I touch it. And then at number 2, I put Keenan Allen. Obviously, you already talked about that. Got him for a 4th-round pick. He has a lot of money, $32 million. Maybe they restructure his contract. I don't know, but great. That was also a great pickup. Best move in polls we trust. Number 3, I have Saquon Barkley. Obviously, like you said, that team, if they get another couple of linemen in the draft, I think because they got to fill some spots, and their O-line is kind of getting kind of old. But yeah, that team will be very, very good. They have A.J. Brown, all those receivers, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. They're going to be good. They're going to be top in there. They're probably going to go to the divisional round. And then for my 4, I obviously put Kirk Cousins. He's 35, but I think he'll be just fine in that system. I kind of don't. Yeah. I don't know who their OC is if I've ever heard of him and seen his offense. And then at number 5, I actually put Daniel Hunter to the Texans. I love that pickup. Yeah. They needed a sort of run stopper. Like I said, you got to stop the run to win playoff games, and he's good. Yeah. That's the guy that I really wanted the Bears to pick up. Obviously, they were probably chasing after him, and he might not have wanted to go to NFC North again. But he was the one that I really wanted that he was in our price range as a Bears fan. I think he's really good. I think that was a really good pickup. And then number 6, because I'm attached to him from 2021 or whenever it is when he went off, Austin Eckler, 2021 fantasy number 1 pick, went crazy. Austin Eckler to the Commanders. Completely forgot about that. I know he's old and he's not really, I wouldn't say the best move of the fantasy, but I just like Austin Eckler, and someone that I kind of overlooked, but I like that move. They get a lot of old players. Commanders are getting a lot of old players, but I don't think that is going to set them back that much. A lot of 1 or 2 year deals. So, they got a new owner, and they got a lot of old players, and I think they'll be a lot better. Also, I'm going to put another honorable mention. I'm going to put Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I did like that.
Curtis Samuel, the Bills. That. They needed someone to fill Gabe Davis' spot. I think Gabe Davis went to the Dolphins or someone like that.
The Jags.
The
Jaguars.
Which is another great. And the Jags signed Eric Armstead. So I think, there's a lot of stuff going on. But I do like Curtis Samuel and the signing by the Jags of both those players. And then finally, we have a couple more. But winners of every division after free agency. And I'll go first on this one. Actual winners, not free agency winners. So AFC East, I have the Dolphins winning their division, which is kind of risky because the Bills lost a lot of pieces on the defense. And then AFC North, I have the Ravens, obviously. Like, they're not going to lose a game. And then the AFC South, I put the Texans. Like we said, they're Super Bowl contenders. AFC West, if you looked at the AFC West and didn't say the Chiefs, you are stupid. And you have the Chargers, you have the Raiders, you have the Broncos. They're terrible teams in there. So it is not a flex, Chiefs fans, to say that you won a division 8 times in a row. Those teams are poop. Okay. All right. So NFC East, I put the Eagles because the Cowboys are scaring me. They did not do anything. They signed one person. They signed Kendricks, linebacker from the Vikings. That is the only thing they have done. Obviously, they're in a cap problem. They have Dak Prescott, who hasn't won more than 5 playoff games at $60 million a year, and a lot of other players that are going to leave after next year, or can leave after next year. So they're kind of saving up. That's why they can't really. They're kind of stuck in a financial situation. And then NFC North. NFC North, I put the Bears because I'm hopeful, and then I put / Lions because I'm really a realist. The Lions are the team to beat. They're freaking good. And they're just so gritty, and if the Bears are that gritty, it'll be a good game. And I think the Bears can pull it out. I just don't think they're as gritty as the Lions because of who the Lions head coach is. He's a gritty guy. But NFC South, I put the Falcons. That division is going to be terrible. Tampa Bay lost a lot of people. The Panthers suck. The Saints are just going to be mid.
The Saints literally haven't done anything.
They re-signed someone. They don't have a quarterback. They have Derek Carr. I don't know if that counts. And then NFC West, obviously. I'm sorry, but I put the 49ers. I mean, they lost a lot of Eric Armstead. They lost a lot of players, and then they signed him right back. Re-signed Javon Hargrave, I think. Maybe. Someone like that.
And then they signed Devondre Campbell.
Yep, Devondre Campbell. Another linebacker, I think. So they're going to be good again. I mean, they just reloaded. And their offense is going to be insane. So, you go ahead.
What did you start with?
I started with the AFC East.
AFC East, yeah. I'm gonna go with the Bills. I still like what their offense is doing. I think they've got a good young core. That's I think only issue I could see there is if Diggs throws a hissy fit.
Right.
But I think
I'm kind of surprised he didn't get moved. But the signing of Curtis Samuel shows that he's okay. Like they're gonna just reload and go on.
Yeah. And then AFC West, I'll go Chiefs because
obviously
their division is so bad.
It's
funny how they only start winning after Peyton Manning retires.
Right. And Tom Brady. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. And then AFC North, it's going to be the Ravens. I mean, they lost Patrick Queen, but they were able to franchise tag Madubuike.
Yeah, and they re-signed him for another 4 years or something. He's a dog. He's a straight dog. He's so good.
I mean, they got Derrick Henry. I don't know how many times we're going to say that, but they got Derrick Henry.
Guys, they got Derrick Henry, guys. They're going to be the best running offense in the league. They're going to get over 150 yards a game.
And people saying Derrick Henry's old and he's washed.
It's Derrick Henry.
He's still the second. He was second in rushing last year. I mean, come on.
He's 6'3" and 230 pounds. He's gonna get 4 yards a carry. It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Until he gets hurt, which he's probably not gonna get hurt, he is gonna have 4 yards a carry. But go ahead.
And then AFC South, it's gonna be the Texans.
Yep.
I mean,
definitely the best team in that.
They're killing it.
Now the Jags, I said the Texans too, but the Jags are on the come up, and I wouldn't say they're very good. I wouldn't say they're very good. But they're doing a lot of good signings as well.
I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't think.
At this point.
I think Stroud has proven himself enough to be better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
So.
NFC East. I think it's going to be the Eagles. like they lost some key pieces, but they did make upgrades in other spots. So I think the Eagles got it in the bag, and I don't trust the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And then NFC West, it's going to be the 49ers. It sucks to say, but I mean, unless the Seahawks just absolutely kill it in the draft and somehow draft like superstars with each pick, I think it's going to be the 49ers. But I do think that the Seahawks are trending in the right direction.
Yeah. And they're kind of, sorry, I didn't mean to, but there's been a lot of teams that are kind of making a lot of great moves. And a couple teams that aren't like the Broncos and the Vikings. But there's just a common, there's a lot of decent teams coming out right now.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
And then NFC North.
Yep. Let me hear it.
I hate to tell you.
Okay.
It's going to be probably going to be Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
I mean, the NFC North is going to be like the AFC North.
It is like I think they will be. They'll probably be the best division in football this year.
Yeah. I
will say that. And then NFC South. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they all just tied.
They always tie.
Let's be
that is
real.
the mid. If the Bears were in that, they would win every year, no matter what.
Yeah, even if it was the Bears from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, from the 3-13, 14 team.
Yeah,
they would have been like 6-11 and won that division. But yeah, that division is terrible. If Kirk Cousins plays well like he has been not this last year obviously, but the year before, they'll be good. They'll make the playoffs. I don't know if they beat anybody else in the playoffs, but they'll be okay.
No, there's no way.
All right, moving on. And you can go first, obviously, because I can't really talk about the Seahawks. But Seahawks offseason and thoughts. So specifically, what you think of their offseason, and then what will they need to do in the draft or pick, and who they need to address in the draft, and who they.
Yeah. So Sam Howell, absolute gunslinger.
Yep.
I mean, great pickup. He showed flashes of like greatness last year. Maybe not greatness, but he's a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
I think he overperformed for what people thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
And then they did re-sign Noah Fant, and like Leonard Williams was a big re-signing. That was huge for them. He's gonna his presence in the middle is gonna be huge. And honestly, they've got a good young core of D linemen, because they've got they still have Boye Mafe, which I think he's been making big strides. And then they still have. Oh, do they still have Jordan Nwosu? Or Uchenna Nwosu? Yeah, they still have Uchenna Nwosu. They still have Draymond Jones. He's solid. I do think there are some things that they do need to bulk up on, and that's their linebackers. They lost Jordan Brooks and Bobby Wagner.
Where did he go? Did he go?
Jordan Brooks went to Miami.
Yeah, that's right. I knew he went to a team down south.
Which, speaking of Miami, Jerome Baker, he's still a free agent.
Oh yeah, he's great.
So, I mean, that'd be huge. And then they also signed Rayshawn Jenkins, which is pretty solid. Because they did cut both of their safeties, which I don't know why they cut them both at the same time.
Right.
I don't know if it was a cap issue. I understand cutting Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
Because he's got way too much CTE.
And he's a little bit older and has a lot of injury issues.
Yeah.
He's a safety that pass blitzes and doesn't really do anything else.
Yeah. He cannot cover.
Right.
But I do think that they do need to bulk up on safeties, linebackers, and then tight ends. They lost quite a bit of tight end depth.
Yep.
They lost Colby Parkinson and Will Dissly.
Yeah, they usually mainly used a lot of tight ends. They run a lot of their offense through their tight ends. So
they did sign Pharaoh Brown, which I don't really. He had one touchdown last year.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know who he was because he's like third string tight end for the Patriots.
Right.
So what?
Maybe he run blocks. Maybe it's a run blocker.
Yeah.
Add step of that.
I mean, that would help. Right. That would help.
Get Kenneth Walker the football. That's gonna be the Seahawks' offensive plan. And if they can't throw the ball, put Sam Howell in. He'll throw the ball all over the place.
Yeah, Sam Howell's gonna be.
They also re-signed Tyler Lockett, right? Or they restructured his
contract?
They
did. They did restructure his contract.
So I think that is I like Tyler Lockett, especially in the fantasy. He's like one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
Especially
he's so solid.
If Sam Howell actually plays, I might have to pick him up in the top 6 rounds, 7th round.
So I mean, and they still got JSN.
Yeah,
JSN was showing flashes last season.
Yep, they'll have a good.
Well,
if they play Sam Howell, they'll have a good offense.
Yeah. I won't say JSN was showing flashes. He was there the whole time. It's just the quarterback play wasn't allowing him to show everybody what he truly is.
Right.
And he was great.
I just got a notification from NFL. Currently, this is a live update on the podcast, which comes out in an hour. Tyrone Smith, offensive line from the Cowboys, just signed with the Jets. That's another great pickup. I mean, he's very good. He's a little bit older, but he's very good. Great.
He's still solid.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's
literally just popped up on my phone, but
that's perfect for the Jets.
Yeah, that's a great pickup for the Jets. That's all they needed. I think they picked up someone else, maybe the Seahawks player. They get someone from the Seahawks. They got another O lineman. I don't remember where from. Another older guy. I think it's maybe the Vikings. I don't remember, dude. So many
Could have been moves. Jason Peters.
It was I don't remember. Lot of moves, and that was mainly what their point was. A lot of O linemen, different ones.
Yeah.
So where do you think? Little bonus question. Where do you think the Seahawks are going to finish? Do you think it's a positive year, or do you think it's more of a mid, or what do you think? What do you think they finish in their division?
Right now, I think they'll still finish around. They might repeat 9-8. I could see them getting 10 wins.
Okay.
I feel like after the draft, it'll be a little more apparent of where they'll end.
Yeah.
So
for the last thing we're going to talk about right now, we're going to talk about I'm going to talk about the Bears offseason, kind of like you did about the Seahawks, and what would they need to do to win the draft. Let's just talk about the offseason real quick. I know we talked about this a lot. A lot of different moves. Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. A lot of defensive pieces. What they need to do. What I would do. I'm a Jalen Hurts. Jeez. I'm a Justin Fields fan. Okay, I like Justin Fields. But I'm gonna do both ways. What if they keep Justin, move the first round, and what they can do with that, and then I'm gonna talk about if they get Caleb Williams, what they could do with Justin Fields. So first of all, keeping Justin Fields, that scenario, they have the 1st and 9th pick. I think that you move back to the 4th pick, because
Mm-hmm.
all those first 3 teams are going to pick a quarterback. They have to pick a quarterback. They're not going to pick MHJ and not get a quarterback. So I think you either move back to 4 and get MHJ and have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and MHJ, which is a crazy, MHJ in the slot and Keenan Allen on the outside, DJ Moore in the slot. Either one, that's a scary and Cole Kmet, a solid tight end, and DeAndre Swift. That is a tough team to play against. And then that first pick, you're going to get a second pick, maybe, or a second round pick. You're going to get a couple second round picks, maybe next year's second round pick, and just build off that. Mm-hmm. That would be the way I would go. Value and value and value. That's kind of how I would take that. I'm not an NFL GM and I'm not Ryan Poles. He's going to do whatever he wants. But I like getting value for what I have when I have a stud at quarterback that just needs an O-line. And then if you go that way, you trade back to MHJ, or even you trade back to 7, and you get an interior D lineman, and then Latu from UCLA. He's kind of projected at number 9. I think that's okay. You get an interior D lineman or a O lineman at top 10, and then a defensive lineman or a D end to go with Montez Sweat. I'd be fine with that. Now going the other way, if you pick Caleb Williams at number 1, you have to trade Justin Fields. I don't want to see a training camp with both of them in there. I don't think that's healthy.
No.
I know they're waiting. I know that happened with the Vikings, and they did that with Sam Bradford and a long time ago. I don't think you do that. You got to move he doesn't want to be there if you pick Caleb Williams, because he knows he is not the franchise quarterback. You spent a first-round number 1 draft pick on him, and that's going to destroy him, and you're not going to get a lot of value at him. I think you get a 3rd-round pick out of Justin Fields right now. A lot of people are like, a lot of those GMs are like, I don't really think he's very good. But if you're the Broncos or the team that we talked about, kind of like the Raiders, you're getting him at a cheap price right now. I think he has 1 more year in his contract, 1 or 2. You're getting him at a cheap price and a cheap, draft pick. 3rd, 4th. I could probably send him for a 3rd and a 6th, or even just 1 second. I mean, if Claypool is worth a 2nd, surely Justin Fields is worth a 2nd.
Yeah.
And then you have another second round pick. So we went that way. So let's say we pick Caleb Williams, and he is as good as everyone says he is. I'm cool with that. I'm not a hater of Caleb Williams. I just don't think that he's kind of a diva. I think he's kind of not really a leader. But that Justin Fields is. And then you go that way. You pick Caleb Williams. You get Latu. I think you still get Latu at number 9 as an edge. And then that extra second round pick that we have 2. I think we have 3 now because we have 2 already. You just fill in the defensive line and the O-line. There's going to be a lot of picks there. I think I don't like that way, because after the 3rd round, they have to be great picks. You kind of it's all based on who you scouted, who you felt was the right way, because after the 3rd round, it's kind of hard to get a great player. I know it happens all the time, but it also happens more often than not that those players are cut after the 3rd round. So, it's very seldom that a lot of those players are actually starting in the league for a long time. But if I was the Bears, I would go the Justin Fields route and trade back, get MHJ, or trade back even farther and I would get both the Vikings first round picks for the number 1, have 3 first round picks, and just go crazy. I think that's value. 3 first round picks for a number 1, and you have a stud at quarterback, and you already have 2 number 1 wide receivers on your team. That's the way I would go. But we'll see if that actually happens. I don't think that the Vikings were willing to do that. because the Vikings just traded up to the number 27 today. So they have 2 first-round picks. That would be ideal. But that is my 2 cents on that. I know I talked a long time, but a lot of thinking goes onto that. So, yeah. I think that's it for today, for this podcast.
Well, should we mention?
Yes.
Aaron Donald retired.
Yes, Aaron Donald, the greatest interior D lineman of all time. And that might be crazy to say. A little recent bias. I know that I'm 22 years old. He's the greatest defensive interior D lineman of my lifetime. I didn't get to watch a lot of different players, but great player. I mean, he had an all-pro first team every single year except his rookie year, and that rookie year he was all rookie of. He was our defensive rookie of the year and a Pro Bowl as well. I mean, just one of the best players to ever play the game. First ballot Hall of Famer. So yeah.
And then other retirements are Jason Kelsey. I don't think we were able to talk about that last episode.
No, we didn't get to talk about that.
And David Bakhtiari.
He retired?
Yeah, he retired.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I think yesterday.
That's actually sad.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. He was constantly injured.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But
I think I saw that actually on Instagram as I follow him or something, or I don't remember. But yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. Man, that's a lot of O linemen, D linemen. They can't really play. It's hard to play more than 10 years. That's a hard place to play. So yeah. All right, so that'll wrap up our March 15th podcast on the Unscripted Sports Takes podcast. A lot of NFL offseason moves. And if you're watched it this far, we're actually going to do a March Madness podcast after Selection Sunday this Sunday. So be ready for that. This Sunday it's going to be a little special event. So yeah, we'll call it right there. Thanks you guys for watching, and have a good night.
Peace.